invite our CIE co-president Tiger Zhou to give us an opening remarks. Welcome, Tiger.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the 2023 CIE DLW AWS Deep Racer Workshop. Are you excited to build your own autonomous car? Before that, let me tell you why we host this program. CIE USA is a national organization started more than 100 years ago. We have 7 chapters in the US, New York chapter, Dallas-Fort Worth, New Mexico, Seattle, San Francisco Bay Area, Southern California, and a dedicated chapter for environmental engineers called SECC. CIE DLW is one of the largest nonprofit professional organizations in the DLW area. It's our mission to enable the growth of current and aspiring engineers and technologists. By providing a platform for technical exchange, professional networking, and STEM awareness. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It's very important in our life and change every way we live, we play, and we learn. Today's program is exactly for you, our future engineers and technologists. Thank you for participating in today's event. I hope you find it fun and learn something new from our speakers. And most importantly, sign up for the competition. Back to you, Martin.
Thank you, Tiger, for this wonderful opening remarks. Now let's start our learning sessions, and I will pass the stage to our instructor, Mr. Anthony Melgapo.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Tiger. Great, wonderful remarks, and always a pleasure to be here. We actually had a wonderful mock yesterday. It went really well. We refined this workshop for you, and I'm just so happy to see I would say over 39 participants now. I know 4 of us here are part of CIE. So, I'm just grateful to be here and be your instructor for the day. So I have some opening introductory slide here, so you'll understand what we're going through today. This I know is marked for 2 hours, but we should get done before that. There are things that we can skip in the coursework that I've prepared for you. But right now we'll get to know me, just so you have a deeper understanding of who I am and why I'm doing this. What actually is AWS Deep Racer? What actually is the technology behind AWS Deep Racer, which is artificial intelligence, and then the subgenre of that is machine learning, and then even the subgenre of machine learning, reinforcement learning. And we'll get down a little bit of the nitty-gritty on that, as the coursework does teach us in depth about that. We also created a Discord for you, so as soon as the competition starts, when you're training your reinforcement learning model, you'll be able to interact with us accordingly if you have any questions. Besides this workshop, after this workshop ends, that's where you'll be able to contact us. We'll be able to create an AWS account. If you don't have one, please let me know within the chat later on. If you do have one, it's absolutely critical that you have an AWS account as well as an Amazon account. The one thing I need to stress about the AWS account is you will need a credit card. So please have that handy when we are creating that AWS account if you've never created one before. And then after all of those accounts are created, we can finally get into the Deep Racer course, as that is a prerequisite of diving into that course are those accounts. And then hopefully, as soon as you're done building your model and we get to test it out, hopefully I can have a demonstration for you of your model working real time. We'll actually go over how the competition works, as we do have one competition race and then a final one a week after that. And then lastly, we'll have a survey for you in terms of team forming. So as I said, I see, the list growing and growing in terms of guests coming in. So I do appreciate it, and hopefully we can get you into teams if you're interested. Okay, so a little bit about me. My name's Anthony. I'm actually not in the DFW area. It was really funny. I learned what Dallas Fort Worth area is thanks to that acronym. So I'm actually from New Jersey on the East Coast, and I actually work with Martin as a colleague at Verizon. So I've been at Verizon for 3 years, and before that, I graduated from Kane University in Union, New Jersey. It's a very hustle and bustle city within New Jersey, and I absolutely loved it. I have a bachelor's degree in computer science information systems. That's actually a track that I chose that's more database oriented and backend oriented, if you know that that terminology. So right now at Verizon, I work within data analysis as well as just general databasing. I like to actually think that I'm a database or a data engineer at this point, because not only do I create reports for Verizon that are very important to our higher ups, but I get to toy with and clean up the data as per usual if there's any formatting issues, things like that. So, that's so beneficial within my workspace. So not only do I toy around with the databases, I also toy around with querying, SQL query. To be specific, we work with so many different portions of databasing. So there's Teradata, there's obviously SQL or Oracle SQL, as well as Cassandra SQL. So that's non-relational. We can talk about it for hours if we wanted to. And then a little bit of Python, which is actually going to be introduced within creating the model too. So don't be too daunted by the fact that we'll be using Python. The model creating that they have for us is very fun and very entertaining, and we'll have a boilerplate by the end of the workshop as well. And then I also work with a software called Tableau. That's actually the visualization of the data so that we can show it to, anyone on the business side, and they can understand, human readable graphs and bar graphs and things like that to show trends and what I call key performance indicators that drive the company to make better decisions and still be the best of the telecommunications world, which is Verizon. So if I didn't mention before, I'm from New Jersey, particularly in Clinton. When you Google Clinton, New Jersey, or when you Google New Jersey, you think of like Newark and you think of cities, but I'm actually from a very farmland area and I absolutely love it. With this love comes my love for motorsports, my love for cars. I love motorcycling around these farmland areas. There's not much traffic and I get to enjoy the warm weather as we have in the summer. Thankfully, I have this background because of my family. We love watching motorsports, and that's actually really awesome for this, coincidentally, because Deep Racer is all about racing. So that's a little bit about me. Oh, as you can see, I'm actually wearing some merch. This is an esports t-shirt. I love esports as well. I love gaming, which is why we wanted to introduce Discord to you. If you're gamers out there, I love Cloud9. That's my team, and I came here to represent them. If they were in the league of Deep Racer, I would surely be rooting for their team. All right, so what exactly is Amazon Web Services Deep Racer, right? It's basically using an Amazon Web Service, specifically called SageMaker, to help program and introduce artificial intelligence on a fun scale for absolutely brand new students to artificial intelligence. We'll be able to develop an ML model that allows an autonomous vehicle to race around a track with the use of specific machine learning method called reinforced learning, which we'll get into later. And there's also a league. So there is an official league, and they actually have a summer circuit right now that if you're really interested in and you love this stuff, you can actually join and race monthly. And if you finish in your top 10% of your region within your country, you actually get some cool merchandise such as shirts like this, but it says Deep Racer on it and it's from Amazon. And then if you're even the best of the best within the league itself on a global level, if you're in the top 3, you can get as much as $20,000 in prize winnings. I did mention that there is a physical race car. If you can see it on the slide right there, you can see it on the racetrack. It's a $200 car. We'll actually be learning a little bit about that in the coursework, but we'll be able to skip that because all of the racing that we're doing within our competition later on, and then the demonstration today, is all going to be on the SageMaker software that Amazon provides virtually, and you'll be able to see a virtual car race today. So as I mentioned, it's good old racing fun. It's autonomous, so it's an autonomous vehicle. We're using AI, specifically reinforcement learning, to allow the car autonomously to drive by itself. And we're just gonna handhold it a very little bit with our Python code. And then I also mentioned the league. So what exactly is artificial intelligence without boring you, and what is reinforcement learning and machine learning, right? Without boring you, I made sure to make these bullets as clear and concise as possible. Artificial intelligence is the development of computers simply to handle human work, right? So with computers, they basically only understand what we tell them to do. But imagine a computer that could think like a human and learn like a human. That's where machine learning comes in. It's the subgenre of artificial intelligence in which machines imitate how humans learn. So that, if you know the term neural network, that's what they use in terms of Chat GPT, if you've ever used Chat GPT, or the Tesla autopilot. It's learning every day so long as the Tesla owners are driving every day and using their autopilot. What we'll be using specifically today is reinforcement learning, which is a subgenre of machine learning. This is where we use a reward and punishment system to train the model that we'll be using on the racetrack. So for instance, if we're going down the racetrack more towards the center of the racetrack, then we're going to reward more points and introduce the model like saying, hey, you should do this every time. We're going to give you a point system. The more points that you earn at the end of the day, the more successful this operation is going to be. And then anytime that we go off the track, we'll have a punishment system, right? So we'll take points away. So throughout iterations of training this model through reinforcement learning, it'll hopefully gain more points the more that we train it, and learn throughout the time that it's good to stay on the track and bad to stay off the track, right? Simply put. So obviously that's just the foundational information I have for this slide, and we can dive into that in the coursework. So here's the QR code for the Discord. I also have a link here for you. As soon as you join the Discord, you'll actually be able to see the slides. You'll have all necessary welcome information as well as documentation. So please just let me know when you guys are good at joining the Discord, and just give me a thumbs up on the Zoom chat, and then we can move forward. Excellent. I can hear it. I think I'm sharing my sound so you can hear the boop, 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 boop. That's everyone joining the Discord. So thank you very much. That's great. So if you don't know anything about Discord, it's basically exactly like Slack if you use Slack. It's basically a community messenger and also a screen share and also a video channel chat. So not only do you get to operate the channel by text and we can direct message each other or group chat each other, I can also share my screen. So this is what I plan to do for the competition. As soon as the race starts, I'll be able to share my screen on Discord. We can all join. And we can see the models running in real time while you interact with me. If you have any Q&As, I'll be there for you. And I plan to be there during the workshops as well. Excellent. I can put the link in the chat. Yes, sorry. Just in case no one has their phone. Whoops. Let me go back here. Copy link, and then I'll paste it in the chat. There you go. For anyone who has that, no problem, Henry. Yeah, feel free. I know it's only me, Martin, and Tiger sharing our webcams, but feel free to interact with us and share your webcam if you're not too shy. It's a safe space for everyone. We want to give you the best interactive workshop as possible. Cool. I'm hearing a lot of pinging still, but you know what? I'm gonna move on, especially since the Discord is in the chat at this point. If you need to join, just keep on moving forward. I think we're going to get into AWS accounts. So this is definitely essential. If you could in the group chat for the meeting on Zoom, just give me a thumbs up if you already have this done. If you already have an AWS account that we can use for yourself, that would be great. For anyone else, you're gonna need to follow my slides and I'll show you with some screenshots on how to create your AWS account. And again, it's absolutely critical that you have a credit card on hand. The good news is we're not spending any money at all today. We just need this because Amazon Web Services has a free tier that we'll be signing up for, and that gives you 10 hours worth of usage on that SageMaker that I did mention for Deep Racer, which is absolutely enough time, 10 hours for both competitions and running your model through countless iterations of training on a racetrack. So don't fear. Okay. So with no thumbs up coming up on the AWS account portion, I'm gonna move on and I'm gonna just assume that everyone wants to create their own AWS account. So that's as easy as, oh, sorry, there was a link. I can also place this into the chat if you guys need it. There it is. It's obviously just the simple homepage for AWS. You'll see at the top right, there is a sign in area. So as soon as you click on that, you'll see this portion right here, this sign in on the left here. Okay, we're gonna want to choose root user and you're gonna want to use your standard email address. Again, if in theory you do not have an AWS account. So here, this is what happens when you enter next on an email on the email address. It'll auto populate that up here as the root user email address, and then you're just going to want to name your AWS account name. That can be any name, really. Okay, and then obviously there's going to be that verify email address. We're going to click on that. And then as soon as you click on that, you'll have to go to your email account and open the one-time passcode. It should be 6 digits if I remember correctly. That'll take some time. I understand if you don't have your email open. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. Okay, hopefully we can get past that. And there's just a couple of steps after this. So after verifying that the email works, you're going to create your password. I think you'll need a capital letter, lowercase letter, more than 8 characters, digit, and special character, probably. After that's done, you're just going to continue, make sure that both passwords are the same. And then comes contact information. So this is also essential. For this, you do see the radio buttons up here. You're going to want to click personal. We did test out business, but there's no use in having a business account. So personal is perfect, especially if you want to go back to AWS Deep Racer on your personal level, even after this workshop is complete and you build something with us. So as you can see, you're going to need your full name, a phone number, your address, city, state, postal code. And then you have terms and agreements at the bottom as well. And then here's that critical part after all of that contact info is completed, where you're gonna need that credit card and just to input your billing information. And then you can use the same billing address that you inputted most likely with your contact information. So again, I'm just gonna give a couple of minutes here if you're following along. Yeah, so Sophia asks, do we need to pay for this? No, the only reason you're putting your billing information there is if you go over the 10+ hours. I'm pretty sure Amazon will give you a warning if we do go over the 10+ hours, which should honestly, in theory, never happen, especially with these 2 workshops that we're hosting, plus the competitions. It'll most likely stop you from using the AWS service before you grant official documentation that you want to pay for this. But that's exactly why they give you the billing information, is just like a save your card just in case you get to that point. But right now I can tell you that this course is absolutely free. We just need this AWS account to log in to enroll into the course. Cool. So hopefully we can move forward. Okay. Oh, forgot about this last portion here. After you put in the billing information, you'll be offered this OTP or one-time passcode again, just some what is it called? Two code verification or 2-part verification, just so you have the mobile number granting this 6-digit code, or I think it's a 4-digit code this time, I can't recall. But as you can see, you have a choice. You can either choose a text message or a voice call, and you input your mobile number, and then there's a CAPTCHA check. So after receiving the message, you'll confirm your identity by inputting the code. And after continuing that, you'll see this almost congratulatory sign up for AWS portion. You're finally done. And obviously you want to choose basic support free. That's very essential. So I'll just give you a couple of minutes here as well. Okay. So I'm hoping here everyone has an AWS account at this point. Please let me know in the chat within the next, let's give you another 3 minutes in the chat if you still need to see these slides. Otherwise, I'm going to move on and we're going to create an Amazon account. And hopefully plenty of you already have an Amazon account. But we'll go over the slides anyways. Okay, I don't see anything in chat. I'm just going to move onward. Okay, so Someone had asked if we use root user or IAM user. Use root user. Yeah, let me go back if I can. That's right here. So that's the first portion. You want to use root user. Okay, luckily this one is a lot less steps and it's much easier. Somehow it's much easier because you spend so much on Amazon. If you have an Amazon account yet, they don't ask for billing information, which I found pretty comical. So this is very easy as stated before. We're gonna create an account here. You just put in your name, first and last, your mobile number or email. I would almost always choose email here. And then re-enter a new password twice. As soon as that's done, you'll be sent an email for a one-time password. I think this one's the 4-digit or 6-digit one. And then it's that simple. You create an Amazon account easily. Once you create your Amazon account, you'll be brought to, if you've never seen it before, the Amazon shopping page. Yeah. So this is just essential because the coursework is using your Amazon account. And the AWS account that we created is using AWS SageMaker. So those are the differences and why we needed both. All right, well, with that, I'm assuming that everyone has accounts created. I'm gonna start moving forward and we're gonna get into the actual AWS skill builder. So this is actually where someone at the beginning had asked if there was gonna be a break. This is actually a great time to have a break. We'll just take, what do you think, Martin, Tiger, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Let me know.
I think 5 minutes is great.
Yeah, I think 5 minutes is great too. So right now, Eastern time, or let's go Central time, it's 3:02. We'll give you until 3:07 and we'll continue onward.
And you also give the student a little bit time if they haven't completed the first 2 steps,
Exactly.
the AWS account and also the Amazon account, which is
Yeah.
which are essential for this program.
Perfect time to have a break and hopefully get you guys settled with that.
So Anthony, do you mind to play the AWS Deep Research video we have
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about the
during the
intro.
break?
Yeah,
Yeah, the intro
this is
video.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so enjoy this while we wait.
Hi everyone, I'm Ryan Marine, and I'm excited to bring you the next evolution in racing, the world's first global autonomous racing league, AWS Deep Racer. Since launch, over 140,000 developers from more than 150 countries have participated. And this year, the Deep Racer League is more accessible than ever before. With the all-new Student League presented by Intel, high school and college students worldwide can compete for scholarships, prizes, and glory. Students can get rolling with just a few clicks, no credit card required. All new AWS Deep Racer arcades will let you skip the coding, grab the wheel, and race head-to-head against AI. Compete from anywhere in the world in monthly virtual circuit races. And the Summit Circuit is back in person on physical tracks across the globe with more chances to qualify for one of 50 coveted spots in the championships at reInvent. Discover how you can accelerate your machine learning journey at deepracerleague.com.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Excellent. I always forget about the Discord. As soon as you join, they play pretty funny GIFs on there, so that's what I'm seeing, and it always makes me laugh. Alrighty, so I think that's good for a little break. If we're good, I'm going to introduce the actual coursework. We're gonna be using this link here, AWS Skill Builder. I'll also copy this into the Zoom chat. I'm all about multi-factor, ways of getting around. You can also find this link obviously on the slides if you downloaded the slides after joining the Discord. And you should see it just on the welcome page of the Discord as well. Oops. Okay, I'm just gonna click on it just in case, but it should bring me to. Okay, that's even better. Or is this one? Yeah. So it knows that I'm in the course already, but you should be able to see an enroll button here if it's your first time. Also, let me just ensure that I'm signed out actually, because I don't think if you created a new AWS account, it should actually give you this link here. And then from here, you're gonna sign in. And actually, since it identifies that you did create a new AWS account already, it should be that easy. If not, you just have to, type in your email, your password to get in. And you should click on that enroll button. After you click on that enroll button, you should be taken to a page that looks like this. Okay, so this is the course that we'll be going through. It's quite easy. Like I said, it's really fun. I'll read it aloud to us. There will be some videos that we'll be watching.
Where's the course? I don't see the course anywhere.
No, you don't see the course. After clicking on this link, let me see if I can get you just this link. See if that works for anyone having trouble.
What's that link? There's no way to get to that link. I don't know what that link is.
Okay, this is the actual course link. Try clicking on that one instead of the sign in. Ooh, second link is forbidden. Okay, let's get everyone back to just the AWS portion here, the skill builder. Let me just go to, the page, the learner dashboard. Can everyone get to this learner dashboard?
Yes.
Okay, so after getting to the learner dashboard, let's just do it on a manual side, because obviously you probably don't see your courses populating, right? So we'll go to this user menu here. And we'll go to course catalog, okay? See if you can do that. After that, you'll see this search bar. I just need you to type in AWS Deep Racer here, or actually just type in Deep Racer, I'm sorry. We did plan for this if anyone was having issues. As you can see, a few pop up. It's all the same course in different languages. All the way at the bottom should be the English version. Okay, as you can see, mine says enrolled, yours should say free. You're just gonna click on that. It should take you to the course. Yeah. Great, I'm hoping that works here. I'll even click on that as well, Brian, thank you. Yep, that should be the course, and then you're gonna enroll or start learning now. Hopefully you'll see that. And again, since I have an instance open where I am already there, yeah, it should take me back to where I was. definitely let me know if we haven't gone here. Because obviously this is where we're just going to hit the ground running with the course. Absolutely, we can wait. We can absolutely wait before we start.
How do we get to the learner dashboard again?
Yeah, I think if you're in the course itself, you can actually close the course. And to get to the learner dashboard, it should just be this right here, this link here. So I'll go back. Because it should save your courses. Hopefully you're already enrolled in the Deep Racer. And then you can literally just click on and it'll go to that course and you can start learning. How do you enroll? It should be right here. It should be, yeah, on the course itself. Doesn't have that. Okay, let me try unenrolling. I don't think this will break anything for me. But if I go to the courses and type in Deep Racer. Oh, this is my courses. Okay, when I click on it and I'm not enrolled, you should be able to see enrolled. No? Excellent. No problem. Yeah, I want to ensure that everyone is enrolled in this just because we'll go over a couple of things in here. I just want to hold your hand for a little bit until we build our first model together. I want to demonstrate that model and then kind of let you guys fly free until we compete, until we race each other. All right. Okay, so hopefully if anyone else has any issues, definitely keep pinging the chat. There's no shame at all. Search Deep Racer, but did not see the course. Okay, when you search, make sure it's not within your courses because it's very similar looking. In fact, I fell for it today. Instead, search the course catalog. So here, I'll give you a link to the course catalog. And you want to search in here instead.
Welcome back. Now that you've seen the car, learned how reinforcement learning is driving it, and watched me and Michelle race around the track, you're probably ready to get started. I bet you want to find out how to build and train your own models so that your car performs at or beyond the level of my performance, and that's great. But it's pretty difficult to accomplish that right out of the gate.
I can hear someone enjoying the course. Which is great, you know. Go for it. Awesome. Great. Okay, let me know if everyone's good to go, please, and we can continue. This should really not take that long. If anything, the exercise will take some time, but none are in English. Okay, all courses not in English. It should be at the bottom. Here are when you search the course catalog. Yeah, I see Nick is getting antsy to start on. You should see one all the way at the bottom. You can actually see that they have the acronyms for each language at the bottom. EN is what you're looking for. Good. Awesome. Okay. All right, with that, it's really easy. We're just gonna open the course. And I'll start it off. There are some helpful, breaks here and there with these videos. So welcome to Start Your Engines. Welcome to chapter 1 of this course. This chapter introduces you to the main topics and flow of the course. It provides a quick overview of how reinforcement learning drives AWS Deep Racer. You'll get a chance to see an unboxing of the actual car, which we'll actually skip, and even its assembly. But first, check out the trailer. So this is different from that YouTube video that I showed you.
And we're gonna teach you all about it. Hello everyone, I'm Blaine Sundred, and I'm here to show you how these 1/18th scale race cars are fully autonomous. Participants will learn all about how reinforcement learning drives AWS Deep Racer and how to join the global Autonomous Racing League or compete virtually from anywhere in the world. Hope to see you at reInvent 2019. Let's get rolling.
Great. So this video dives a little deeper into the overall topics addressed throughout this course and introduces you to the AWS Deep Racer League, which you'll learn more about later. Let's see.
Welcome to AWS Deep Racer, driven by reinforcement learning. I'm Blaine Sundred with AWS Training and Certification. This course is designed to give you hands-on experience with reinforcement learning by helping you build, train, and deploy models in AWS Deep Racer so you can compete in the official AWS Deep Racer League. To that end, we'll talk to you about the physical components and technical specs that make up the device and how to assemble it. We'll then dive into what reinforcement learning is all about and how it's the engine behind AWS Deep Racer. We'll give you the opportunity to get hands-on and actually start to build and train your own reinforcement learning models in AWS Deep Racer. Then we'll really start to have some fun by deploying your optimized models to both simulated and real AWS Deep Racer environments. This will allow you to compete in the AWS Deep Racer League, the first global autonomous racing league. It's open to anyone, and it culminates in the Championship Cup at reInvent in Las Vegas. The league includes both a virtual and a physical circuit for you to compete in, which you can do at upcoming AWS summits. The fastest times from each event wins a ticket to reInvent. Points will also be awarded to the top 10 positions on the league leaderboard, which will accrue regularly up to reInvent itself. So, are you ready? If you are, and if you're excited as I am to get started, let's join DeClark Wenzel from the AWS Deep Racer product team for a more in-depth introduction into this exciting new device. Hope you enjoy the course.
All right, so this is kind of what we went through on a foundational scale, but I'll let DeClark actually give you some insight onto RL, which is reinforcement learning.
Hello, and welcome to this course on AWS Deep Racer and the AWS Deep Racer League. I'm de Klerk Wenzel, a Senior Product Manager with the AI Devices org, and I'm thrilled you're here. Throughout this course, you'll learn how to interact with the AWS Deep Racer from end to end, from assembling the car to understanding reinforcement learning, building and optimizing models, and finally, how to compete in the AWS Deep Racer League. But before we dive into all of this, let's take a minute to talk about the vehicle and what's underneath the hood. So what exactly is AWS Deep Racer? AWS Deep Racer is a fully autonomous 1/18 scale racing car that's capable of performing in both a virtual and physical world. It was built to support aspiring machine learning developers who want to get hands-on and have fun doing it. So what does reinforcement learning have to do with all of this? Reinforcement learning is the auto in autonomous car, and it's what powers AWS Deep Racer. Reinforcement learning is one of 3 types of machine learning: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. We'll get to the first 2 in a little bit, but for now, it's important to know what reinforcement learning models do. They learn via an agent that interacts with an environment and is then positively or negatively rewarded based on the decisions it makes. So think about training a dog. If your dog does something good, you'll give it a reward. If it does something bad, you won't reward it. And over time, it'll learn based on the outcomes of its actions, which actions are actually good actions. So you will incentivize the correct behavior. And that is what reinforcement learning does to our model. So for us, that agent is AWS Deep Racer, and the environment within which it's operating is the track. And what is a race car and a track without a little friendly competition? At the end of this course, we'll talk a little more about the AWS Deep Racer League. So now that we've talked a little more about the vehicle, let's dive right in and unbox one.
Okay, so this is the part that I'm going to skip just because it's about the physical car. If you're interested, this is the physical racetrack. And that's the physical car there, just in a GIF or a GIF. And now we get to the fun part. So this is test drive. In this chapter, you'll get hands-on with AWS Deep Racer by building, training, and evaluating your first reinforcement learning model. But first, let's get started with Blaine and Michelle driving their own cars around the track, just to learn a little bit more about the workflow behind AWS Deep Racer.
Okay, it's going on the track. You got this one. Here it goes. Stay on. No, stay on, stay on, stay on. Hey, okay, we got this in. There it is. Nice,
yes.
nice, nice. Time. 67 seconds.
Woo!
Good. That's a
Yes.
good first time around.
Thank you. So what was your first time around?
68. So better than
Okay.
mine. Now my current time, 41 seconds.
No way.
41's my current time.
That's awesome.
Developers, I'm here with Michelle, and we're having fun getting our fingers dirty on the track.
Yeah.
So as we talk about differences in time, the way you get there is one of the cool things about Deep Racer and reinforcement learning itself. It's being able to look at all the options and the parameters and the hyperparameters, and each one of those are knobs you can turn and tweak, and sometimes you get a little improvement, sometimes you'll see a really big improvement. Sometimes you'll just experiment and it might work and it might not, but you'll learn from that as well.
That's awesome. As a curriculum developer, it's the first time I've ever touched something like this, and it's amazing to get it to actually work.
Well, you know, and that's the fun thing is you can get an immediate good response.
Yeah, so I have to ask, if I keep tweaking this, I keep playing, am I gonna be able to get to 41 seconds?
Well, the truth is you'll probably do better than me. There's a lot of people right now on the leaderboard that have times better than mine.
Wow.
So with that, we're gonna go ahead and go back into the simulator and learn how to tune your models, and eventually get right back on the track.
All right, so here's a little bit of reading. But AWS Deep Racer workflow. In just a minute, you'll have a chance to get into the AWS Deep Racer console and build your first model. But before doing that, let's walk through the workflow behind AWS Deep Racer. Throughout this course, you'll get to dig in deeper to all of these separate steps. But for now, just take a minute to understand what's happening at a more superficial level. Whether you end up racing on a virtual or physical track, you'll want to start in the simulated environment. Building, training, evaluating, and repeating that process until you've optimized your model enough so that you think it's ready to compete. Then if you'd like, you can deploy to the actual physical car. So this is just kind of like the workflow that they're talking about. This all starts with creating a model in the AWS Deep Racer console. You use the console for model configuration. Once built, the simulator is used to train and then evaluate your model. The simulator is a great tool. You can see in real time how your model is responding to the settings you've chosen. After a model is trained, you can evaluate its performance in the simulator, which yields the percentage of the lap complete for each of your runs, plus the overall time it took to complete each run. If you like what you've done with your trained and evaluated model, you can clone it and start to tweak it to tweak your configurations for increased performance. Once you have a model that's performing to meet your expectations, deploy it to the car and start racing on the physical track, or compete with your model via virtual track events, such as what we'll be doing. So here we go, accessing the console and building your first model. This video walks you through building and training your first reinforcement learning model in the AWS Deep Racer console using the console default settings.
Welcome back. Now that you've seen the car, learned how reinforcement learning is driving it, and watched me and Michelle race around the track, you're probably ready to get started. I bet you want to find out how to build and train your own models so that your car performs at or beyond the level of my performance, and that's great. But it's pretty difficult to accomplish that right out of the gate. You have to take a few small steps first. This section will walk you through a demo of building your first model using only the default options the service console provides. No tweaks or any fancy customization just yet. Join me while I walk you through this process in the AWS Deep Racer console. Feel free to follow along. First, navigate to the console. You can do this right from the AWS Deep Racer homepage at the URL you see here on the screen. After you select the button to create the model, you'll be taken to a screen where you'll see different sections for things like model details. So let's talk about those. This top section is where you equip your AWS Deep Racer with all the necessary services and permissions it requires to train and run smoothly and safely. If you want, you can get more information about what each of these resources do and how they all connect to AWS Deep Racer, or you can just click on the button to begin creating these resources. Next, choose an environment. There are a handful of options to choose from, which is great because it means you can expose your model to different tracks with varying degrees of twists and turns. Now, the action space is what defines the range of actions your vehicle can take, either virtually or physically. You tell it what its maximum speed should be, as well as its steering angles for left and right turns. Again, we'll get into all of this later, so just take a look, get comfortable, and if you're following along, just use the default settings to configure your speed and your angles. You need to help your model by specifying which actions to reward your car for taking. This happens via the reward function. Reward functions are what incentivize or reinforce particular behaviors. These rewards are the core of reinforcement learning. We'll get into reward functions later, but just look around in here and get familiar with the language. I'd recommend starting with the basic function first and then getting more advanced, but that's up to you. Same thing with algorithm settings. Now, I'm going to cover all of them later on in the course. I'll explain what hyperparameters are, including things like entropy and epochs, and how to tune them. But for now, just get comfortable with the language. For the first run-through, feel free to just use the default settings. Finally, before you start training, you need to tell your training job when it should stop. So you're going to set up some stop conditions. These are intended to help prevent runaway models that could incur costs if you don't limit the time they run for. Again, at this stage, you might want to just stick to the default settings, especially if this is your first time through the model building process. And with that, you can click on the Start Training button and watch as your model moves and reacts to the parameters you set for it. Pretty savvy, right? Well, congratulations! You just built your first model with AWS Deep Racer. Now, there's lots of room for improvement here, as you may have noticed. The trick is to slowly iterate on your model, making incremental changes that will eventually have a big impact on your car's performance. But before we go there, let's back it up a bit and dive more deeply into reinforcement learning and how exactly it helps to make this 1/18th scale racing car fully autonomous. That's coming up in our next course section, so stay tuned.
Awesome. So as you can see, it got a little bit ahead of ourselves where they were talking about hyperparameters. We're actually going to feature that in our second workshop. But as you can see, this is the first hands-on exercise. This is actually where I wanted to get us towards, and then hopefully demonstrate after building our first model, an actual race where we actually get to see it perform. So if you could, there is a link here on the course, and I also did feature the resource pack already downloaded for you in a zip package on the welcome and rules of Discord. So you can find it there as well. But you just need to unzip this folder and then click on the first hands-on exercise. It's a PDF file and it should look like this. This is what we're going to use to build our first model. And it's very hands-on, as you can see. It also notes that the exercise is used on, I guess it's called, they used to call it SageMaker, but I guess it's Amazon RoboMaker. And we have enough for 10 hours. And again, this is completely fine. 10 hours is a great amount of time. It says right here, by the end of this exercise, you'll be able to access and navigate the AWS Deep Racer console. Identify the steps. Let me make this bigger for folks. Identify the steps that go into building a model in the console. Use the basic reward function when configuring a model, and then using the simulator to train and evaluate a model. So technical prerequisites is just a little bit about using AWS technologies in general, and a basic understanding of machine learning concepts, reinforcement learning, and how it applies to AWS Deep Racer. So the first thing we do is we head towards the AWS Deep Racer console. This is what this is here. Let me get you a link. This should be perfectly fine, I think, to link in the chat. Oof, if I can find the chat again. Okay, here we go. So that instance should work for everyone. As you can see, you should be logged in on the top right already. I'm gonna do my best to try to read off the tasks if you could follow along while I have the console open on the other end. Okay, we just need to go to the management console. Actually, I think this is already the management console. Oh, I see. So actually, we're already on step 4 on the landing page for AWS Deep Racer. We just have to create model here. Okay, so we're gonna click on that. So now we just need to create the model
How
name
did
and
we
just,
get here?
yeah, how do we get there? Okay, so this should work here with the link in my group chat. Oh, I'm sorry. I had DM'd someone. I didn't mean to. Try both of these links. I would recommend the first one where it says get started. That's the only difference.
It says complete sign up. Thanks for signing up to Amazon Web Services. If we have directed you to this page, then you have not finished registering. Make sure you have done the following. 1. Provided all blah 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 blah.
Right. Okay, so that sounds like, I mean, on the top right corner of your screen, do you see that you're signed in to your account? Yeah, let's make sure we're all signed into our accounts at the top right. That's at least what that sounds like. This is great. I can already see students interacting on the Discord and helping each other. Amazing. Fantastic. All right. So signing in with your AWS account should be at the top right. Should be able to sign in with the AWS account that we created. Yes. Yes, for any latecomers into the workshop, I'm assuming you missed the slides that we did. Definitely add a credit card, but just know that this is free. Yes.
I'm doing the console thing on a different device because the one I'm doing Zoom on can't load it.
Okay.
So I can't use the link. Could you like show me how to get to that place? Because I'm on the learner dashboard and I don't know how to get there from here.
Okay. Is your device linked to the Discord?
I don't know. It doesn't have Discord on it.
Okay, but you said where exactly are you on the AWS?
Like I have an iPad that has like the Zoom and Discord, but I'm using a different thing to run the console and it doesn't have Discord or Zoom, so.
That's fine. Where are you on the console, I should ask?
I'm just on the learner dashboard. I've already opened the course before, but I don't know how to get to the console.
Okay, so let me give you just a generic AWS. Can you do me a favor and see, I can't give you any links because it won't work. But just try going to aws.amazon.com on the device that you're using. For anyone else,
it says you need to sign in, but I'm already signed in, so that doesn't make any sense.
Is this on the top right? You can see that you're signed in on the top right.
No, because like you told me to enter the web link or whatever it said. I entered the URL and it told me to sign in, even though I'm signed in on the other tab I've opened.
Oh, okay. Can you use the tab that's already signed in?
Okay.
Yeah.
But if I enter the URL, it just changes the whole thing. do I just enter the URL onto the top, or do I? Because there isn't a search bar. It's the training and certification place. It doesn't have a search bar on it.
Okay, I think there's a little bit of confusion where that's the learner. That's where we take the course,
Yeah.
but that's different from AWS services. So
Oh,
yeah, you actually should log into the AWS services as well.
okay.
Yeah, try logging in there and then let me know where you are. For everyone else, it should be just this step 2 where you see create a model. Hopefully I got a few of you over there. Okay, so I'm just going to read a bit when it comes to creating the model. In reinforcement learning for AWS Deep Racer, an agent or the vehicle learns from an environment, a track, by interacting with it and receiving rewards for performing specific actions. The model training process will simulate multiple experiences of the vehicle on the track in an attempt to find a policy. This is a function mapping the agent's current state to a driving decision, which maximizes the average total reward the agent experiences. After training, you'll be able to evaluate the model's performance in a new environment, deploy the model to a physical vehicle, or submit the model to a virtual circuit. So to put this lightly without any, technical difficulties, what it's trying to say is that the vehicle is within the environment and the states should change depending on the actions that the vehicle should take. So to give an example, if the agent or the vehicle is going down the road and it's driving at 0.5 meters per second and it almost gets off the track, then that action, or I'm sorry, the state that it's in, either gives that reward or the punishment, and then it kind of cycles back. So there should be a new action within the environment that the vehicle's on, and then depending on the state, it should reward. And this is happening, depending on the parameters that you choose within your reinforcement learning model, it's happening consistently. So just with that, as you can see, we have some inputs here. So we'll have to, oh, it looks like I missed something. Environment simulation, click, create resource. I don't see click create resource, so I'm just gonna skip that, but it says to name your model. So I'm just gonna call this one Anthony test 1. I'm just gonna call this my first model. As you can see, the description's optional. And when I had raced back in 2019, I actually chose the A to Z Speedway. That was the one that we always see on the videos and the GIF that I had showed you. And just because I want it to be clockwise, I'll just default it to clockwise. Okay. Hopefully we can click next here. Whoops. Yeah. So I would just use the defaults here too. This is going to be a time trial race, and this is exactly what we're using for the competition as well, which we want to make it a time trial. And then we'll just use this as well, this PPO default, state-of-the-art policy gradient algorithm, which uses 2 neural networks during training, policy network and a value network. We'll keep these all to a default for now. And then if you join us for workshop 2, we'll dive deeper into these, but these are your hyperparameters. Okay. So as you can see, they are defaulted to, just some standards.
I have a question.
Sure.
Why, like, when I press next, it just goes to like the start of the first page?
Oh, that's weird.
I'm pressing next, but it's just going to the top.
That's interesting. Maybe did you forget to type something in? Here, let me try removing model name. I think it'll, yeah, it brings me to the top because possibly something's not named that is required.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yes.
No worries. Yeah, so Nick asked if I could go back onto the Zoom chat, so I did. So this is still the first page. Overview. Okay, looks like it's fine now. This is good. So yeah, if it does default to going back to the top of the page, it definitely means you missed something that's priority. You know, maybe you use the space within your, yeah. Yeah, I would use A to Z Speedway. What you should know is if you do join the competition, just know that we will not be using A to Z Speedway. I want this to be a little bit more competitive, and we'll most likely use, you know, one of the more various tracks that we have. It won't be as easy as A to Z Speedway. Like I said, I'm really into racing, so actually that course is derived out of Monza in Italy. The other ones are a little bit different, but we'll most likely use something more intermediate. Yeah, we'll figure it out, but we want it to be a secret, obviously, from the students. Okay, but just to make it easy, we're gonna build our first model on that A to Z Speedway.
Do we just leave all the settings at default?
Yes, yeah. So for now, we'll have everything defaulted right now, especially the hyperparameters. Because this is our first model, and then we kind of want the teams to form, and then you guys can
Just
get
click-
together and.
So do we just click next every single thing and don't touch anything?
Well, I'm actually trying to ensure that I don't miss anything. So if you just follow along, then we'll
Okay.
see. But otherwise, yeah, it looks like I'm defaulting to everything. Yeah. Okay, so hyperparameters, again, I'm not touching them, but if you do click the drop down, you'll see that they are defaulted. Again, this was clicked with PPO, so I'm gonna keep that there. It's just 2 neural networks. And then the time trial race type, so that's default as well. Okay. Let's read about this real quick. Why is action space important? In reinforcement learning, the set of all valid actions or choices available to the vehicle as it interacts with the racetrack is called an action space. In the AWS Deep Racer console, you can train vehicles in either a discrete or continuous action space. When training an AWS Deep Racer model, the action space defines what speed and steering angle combinations are available to the vehicle. An action is a single speed and steering angle combination or choice an agent can make. So I think we're gonna choose, hold on. Continuous action space allows the agent to select an action from a range of values for each state. Yeah, so this is perfect. In fact, this will ensure that we have the most parameters that we can choose from without defining a finite set. So we want all of them. And then this is kind of where you guys get to toy around. This is the steering angle that your car can have. It looks like the max is 30 degrees and the right angle is negative 30 degrees. So if you have a graph, right, and you're looking at the first quadrant, it's all positive numbers, and then the second quadrant's all negative numbers, and that's just the steering angle. Okay, and then you also get to set the speed, and it's in meters per second. So I actually had a mock, as I mentioned before, demonstration, and my car was very slow. So obviously the values are between 0.1 and 4 meters per second. So obviously if you have it 4, it'll try to go really fast. In fact, see, there's the minimum speed and the maximum speed. So you get to train it based on giving it you know, maximums and minimums. So just just for fun, I'll probably do 1 and 3. Oh, and that never used to update, so that's pretty cool. And you know what? Just for fun, I'll make this 15 and I'll make this negative 15. Oh, did I not do the negative? There we go. So as you can see, that's the maximum angle in degrees that it can turn if it needs to turn. Okay. So yeah, you can toy around with this. I just did, so I'm gonna keep going. It looks like we have to choose the vehicle, so we'll choose the original Deep Racer. And then what we just built with that is this boilerplate of the reward function. So right here, the reward function describes immediate feedback as a score for reward or penalty when the vehicle takes an action to move from a given position on the track to a new position. Its purpose is to encourage the vehicle to make moves along the track to reach its destination quickly. The model training process will attempt to find a policy which maximizes the average total reward the vehicle experiences. You can learn more about the reward function and the reward input parameters you can use in your functions. So here you can see the differences between each of these. So here's one that focuses on following the center line. Here's one that focuses on staying within the two borders. And another one that focuses on preventing zigzag behavior. So these are all different ways that you can write up your reward functions. As you can see, they give comments as well. So this is perfect. What we're attempting to achieve is just ensuring that you guys are having fun with the boilerplates, meaning you're changing different things. You're giving different rewards, different input parameters. There are some parameters that you will learn about within the course, but for now, you know, I'll just use one of these. So I'll use that one. And then here's stop conditions. So set the condition for your training job to stop. To avoid runaway jobs, you can limit the length of a job to within a maximum time period. The training will stop when the specific criteria is met. When your model has stopped training, you'll be able to clone your model to start training again using new parameters. So this is great because your model will train for a maximum amount of time, but let's say that it, you know, does something in the punishment system, but you haven't accounted for punishing it, it'll most likely set the reward to keep adding on, even though it needs to be punished. So if you wanted to, you could make sure that the stop condition is really low if you're, let's say, not confident in your model, so that it can stop it before it trains incorrectly, things like that. Okay, so I'll put mine at 5. It looks like the minimum is 5. So here we go. We can automatically submit to the Deep Racer race. I usually just default this to no, since we're not going to the league. This is just our personal CIE DFW league. Let me just double check this. I totally thought this was okay. It looks like I just chose the least lengthiest amount of code. There's a validator as well, just in case you do mess up your coding in terms of this defined method. And as you can see, it passed. But if I did something like, I don't know, created another else here and didn't put anything, I think it'll say it's incorrect. Yeah. So right there, if you do miscode, it'll let you know. And hopefully if you hover over, I think, yeah, there's an invalid syntax. So if you're familiar with coding, I definitely recommend that you input parameters, you know, after you're done training your first model, you have a little bit of fun. And then, you know, for anyone who's a little bit uncertain with coding, at least it can tell you that something's incorrect. So I definitely recommend that you have fun with it. Since you have this validator, it's really nice to have a validator right here on the Amazon Web Service of, I think I call it RoboMaker. Okay, so it passed validation. It looks like, oh, we don't need to set a league requirement because we're not entering into the race. I don't think I even need to accept this terms and condition. Okay, here it goes. So this is really important, guys. So it says model training is charged at a flat fee of $3.50 per hour, and model storage at, millicents per gigabyte per month. The AWS Deep Racer free tier gives new users 10 free hours towards training or evaluation, so that your first model training, evaluation, and submission to the virtual circuit is free. All right, so just remember that you got 10 hours. It's a great amount of time. Okay. And after that, your model should be built. It looks like it needs to initialize, which is fine. I'm just gonna exit this. It says we can learn more about Deep Racer if we wanted to. So Sophia asks, if we pass 10 hours, then we have to pay 23 cents. Not necessarily, I guess in theory, I can say if we pass 10 hours and you wanted to keep training on AWS RoboMaker, you would be paying $3.50 per hour of usage of the service. When it comes to your models, that counts as storage on AWS. It's in the cloud somewhere, the storage. And depending on how big your model is, you're paying 0.0023 cents, I think. So it's very minimal per gigabyte of storage, very minimal. So virtually you don't have to pay for storage. And if you stay under the 10 hours, you don't have to pay. Exactly. Okay, so hopefully, okay, it's initializing. But I'd really like to show you it on a track, which would be the evaluation portion. So this way we could see it in real time, running on a track. So these are just the parameters that we set on default. If you remember creating the model, it just shows it right here, what track we're on. And as soon as it's done, I think we can actually watch it. So hopefully this is also happening on your end as well.
So how do you watch it train?
Yeah, I'm hoping after the initialization process is complete, we'll be able to see the real-time video of it actually going through the A to Z speedway. We did it yesterday during the mock. I don't necessarily remember exactly how I got there. I can't remember if it's under this training or evaluation, but we'll get there as soon as this is done initializing.
Last night it seems much quicker, and
Oh.
today is busy during the day.
Yes, that's
But,
because when we were mocking, I was on my other account that I actually originally used for my deep racing in 2019, and I had models already completed. So it takes a little bit for the model to obviously initialize here, but as soon as it's done, we'll be able to evaluate it on the racetrack. In fact, I think that's what it's doing. I'm pretty sure it's running on the racetrack as we speak, if not initialized already. Yes, exactly. So Nick asked on the Discord, is this taking part of our 10 hours? This is training, so this does take part of your 10 hours. But yeah, as you can see, gosh, I think that took maybe 5 minutes of our time. I know with all the technology out there and social media, we're so bad with our attention spans, right? But that only took like about 5 minutes max, right? So that's how long it took. As you can see, the training's complete, and this is the simulation video we have here. Oh, it's actually still initializing, but it's prepared the map already. Yeah, so it all depends on, you know, it actually should be independent of your network connection, because this is already on servers that don't belong to you. So it should still take an average of that amount of time that mine finished. Oh, as you can see my car is going really fast. It's failing a lot, which is kind of what I wanted to see happen, because if it's going too fast, and you're identifying that there's it's a short course, first of all, and there's a lot of turns. There's not that many turns, but it's going too fast for the turns. As you can see, when it hits the green, it restarts. So it's kind of doing a bad initialization of training here. The good news is it's just training. So I do believe.
So this is the intention mistake the student would make.
Yes.
The first
Yes. So if I could make recommendations for your guys' models, it should be slow at first.
just
as you could see,
you crawl,
yeah,
you walk and run.
Exactly. You gotta crawl before you soar. So as you can see, I crossed the finish line for the first time, albeit, you know, with so many retries, and that counts as an iteration. So I do believe that we set within our rules and regulations for our competition, if you were to join, that we ask that you only run a max of 50 iterations for your competition model. I think the way that we're going to do that is just provide a screenshot onto here or onto a folder I prepared for you on our Google Drive. It all depends. I think we're still going to have to discuss that, but just know that there will be some rules so that everyone's model has you know, some kind of standardization. I honestly don't know what it's doing right now. Oh, it's waiting because I guess did I set a number of times it should go over the track? So right now oh, okay, it's still going. I thought it was done after one lap. But as you remember, I did set a stop condition at 5 minutes. In fact, we can test that now. Right now I'm at 3 minutes of training. Ooh, that one was okay. Kind of like drove on the white line there. If you are noticing too, you're seeing the car reset after the entire car goes off the track. So as soon as the entire car goes off the track, it resets, and it's somewhat closer to the end, which is the finish line, because as you can see, it's making progress, but it is failing at some points. And now we're getting some data on the reward graph here. So after its second iteration, it didn't fail as much, and we know that because it rewarded it a little bit more, right? Yeah. So this is the fun part. Nick is very informative on the chat where he's saying his car's stuck. That should be, yeah, as you could see, the car is in a waiting condition, and I'm pretty sure that's just because it crosses the finish line and it's reinitializing a new lap. So even in this waiting state, as you can see, the training is progressing. Even though it's resetting a new lap for it to run, right? But mine should stop at 5 minutes. Yeah, the graph should only show up after an iteration is complete, after a lap is complete. Oh, I failed to read some of the Zoom chat, but it says it's failed to satisfy constraint. Oh, interesting, Eric. Member must satisfy regular expression pattern. That sounds like the validation is incorrect. Is that the code part, Eric? And then it says, Chong says, is the goal just creating best reward function? Pretty much, essentially. So obviously, if it has a very effective reward function, you should be crossing the finish line without any issues, right? It should get across the track without failure to keep on the track. Is that at the code editor part? It should be. That's what it sounds like, Eric. Yeah, so as you can see, it stopped training. I'm pretty sure that's because I did the stop condition at 5. Yeah, there it is, the maximum time of 5 minutes. Okay. So as you can see, you could set the condition of your training to an hour if you wanted to. I definitely don't recommend it. You know, this is just a short and sweet introduction boilerplate model. But let's say that you create such a good intro model where you completed, 5 iterations in a maximum of 5 minutes, right? Iterations meaning laps. And the reward was really good, meaning the model was good at going around the track without punishing it, right? So if you built a really good model at the beginning, what they recommend is that you clone that model because it's really good at the track that you set up. And maybe you want to tweak more of the reward functions. Maybe you want to add a punishment function. And then you get to retrain maybe on a different course. So this way it's really good at not just running A to Z Speedway, but it becomes very good at running, your model becomes very good at running, tracks that have an average of like 10 turns, and some of them are hairpins and some of them are right angles, right? So you wanna ensure that for the competition, even though we recommend that you only run 50 iterations for your model, you can always clone that next model and run another 50 iterations. So it all depends on how you want to take it. But just remember, as soon as you're confident in your model, know that that's the one that you're going to input or you're going to submit to our race. Okay, how do you get the machine to want to get rewarded? Yes, so that's within your parameters that I mentioned in that Python code. So if we just hop back really quickly to the test drive portion, I do believe in tuning up for a top finish. We're not going to go in depth with this today. In fact, I just realized I think we only have 20 minutes left within this workshop, but you'll be able to see the different parameters that you can use. And I'm pretty sure you can even create your own parameters if you wanted to. So if you really enjoyed this workshop and you really enjoyed what you learned here today in terms of building the Deep Racer models, you can absolutely learn on your own time. Search YouTube for the best type of parameters if you can build your own, and really get into depth with the hyperparameters if you really wanted to. Otherwise, join us for our second workshop and I'll be able to go over those with you, and we'll be able to tweak our models as best as possible. Maybe create some punishment functions within our that can live parallel to our reward function. So all of these are different parameters. Distance from center is left of center. what you're heading, progress, your speed. So maybe if let's say your car is heading towards a turn, so your car is already distance from center to a degree, it's gaining more distance from center. So maybe you can program a little bit a method where the more distance from center that you are, maybe you want to slow down. That's an indication that you're going towards a turn, and then get back and prioritize distance from center. So things like that. That's how you'd want to get the correct rewards for your machine, especially when it comes to turns, right? And like I said, that was just one example. You can really, really take it to the next level with combining these and looking at the actual racetrack as an XY. That's a little bit in my opinion, the XY is a little bit not cheaty, but each course is like from a top-down view is an XY. It's like a graph, right? So if you wanted to, you could plot the course for the car, I'm pretty sure, depending on the track that you choose. But obviously, as I said before, your model shouldn't just be good at doing one track, right? You want to ensure that your vehicle is doing well on all tracks. And in my opinion, you should try to steer clear from hard coding XY, if that makes sense. So I think I'll stop there. Hopefully everyone at least got to this point. Please message me directly on Discord if you had any issues logging in today. I saw that some of you may have. This is a recorded workshop, so you'll have that too if you joined late. Don't stress about it. Like I said, we'll probably see at the competition. Hopefully you can take this course in your own time with the recording. And we'll definitely see you for workshop 2 as well. And then hopefully a final competition. And I can't wait to see how your models turn out even after the second one where we go over those hyperparameters, or maybe I can race with you guys and see if you can beat my average time. That'd be so cool. This is why I kind of love that stuff. Okay, is there anything else that I should be mentioning? I don't think we got to this part of the mock where we get to end the workshop. So let me know, please.
Thank you, Anthony. This is very good and it's useful information for the students. And we do have a post-workshop survey if you are interested in joining our virtual competition later on. And please fill out that surveys, and that can help us to build your team in a very effective way. And please fill that surveys by the end of this week. Thank you.
Yeah. Great point, Martin. Sorry. Totally forgot to finish the last 2 slides of the workshop, but here's the QR code in taking that survey. Again, I gave you a link to these slides so you can absolutely open it up on your own time. Scan the QR code. Can you send the link in the survey? Yes, I think I can. Let me do it through my phone. There's no reason I can't do it through my phone. And then I'll do it through the Discord, guys. So
I can send the link, Anthony.
Okay, yeah, on the Discord, I'm about to do it too. I'll do it under welcome and rules, just so everyone has it, and it can't be deleted or anything like that. Can't be lost in the ether of the fantastic general channel right now. Everyone's having fun in the general channel. Let me get it up here. Okay. Let's see if that happened in real time as well. Yeah, so if you see the welcome and rules, you should see a message from me there. That is the post-workshop survey. Yeah. Okay, and then the last thing that I definitely wanted to mention, if you were interested in the competition, which I almost forgot as well, is how the scoring and the judging will happen. Since this is a time trial, we're just looking for the best model that makes it over the finish line the fastest time, no matter what iteration it is. And obviously that's going to be in real time. You're going to submit your model. It's going to be done being trained. and the model is hopefully aware enough to go through the track that we choose. So it will be based on race time. I think when you create a race, it defaults the mistakes to add 3 seconds. We're actually going to try our best to deter from that. We're only going to add 1 second per mistake that we see. And then obviously, we're going to be judging on your modeling and your coding. Hopefully, is it well written, well coded? You know, did you take the time to ensure that it looks very different from the boilerplate? That's all we want to see. Want to make sure you guys are having fun and enjoying this type of exercise. Okay, so I think that's it for the slides, and I'm good. But I can absolutely take some time out of my post workshop session. I'll be on the Discord. If you have any login issues, I'll be right there. You can direct message me and just let me know if you need to screen share, and I can hopefully guide you through whatever you need to be guided through. Okay.
Yeah, just a reminder about the first virtual competition will be online next Saturday, August 5th, 2:30 to 4:30 or to 4. So you can check the SECC website for the information. And I think that one of the takeaway message from this workshop is okay, you should be able to get the Amazon AWS account, Amazon account, and build the first model and treat all the parameters and have fun. And I look forward to see all of you on the virtual competition. That would be fun to compete with the peers and peer student and to see who are the best runner, best racer.
Yeah, gonna be so fun. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I guess I'll hand it off to Martin if you want to have any closing statements or anything.
No, do you have closing statement, Tiger?
I hope you enjoyed today's event. Thank you very much, Anthony, because it's such a very informative, as Martin said, and step-by-step instructions. And I want to play this. I want to race, and I haven't got the opportunity to do this. Thank you very much, Anthony. And thanks, Martin, for MC and hosting this event. And I hope all of you enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Likewise, thank you so much, Tiger. I appreciate that. And yeah, feel free to chat on the Discord, and hopefully we'll see you within a week at the competition. And thank you, guys. Yes, thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
All right. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. But if you don't mind, you can turn on your video, and we're happy to see all of you. And thank you.